I'd like to thank the council. This is my 12th State of the City, and I appreciate the positive and collaborative relationship that we have between the council and the city administration. It's worked very well for these past 12 years, and we hope to see it continue here for the next 4. Well, beyond 4, but 4 for me. I'd also like to mention Miles from Medina TV and Jared for helping me put this presentation together. They always do such a great job. So go ahead, Miles. So the Community Development Department, as the council knows, it consists of planning and zoning, building department, and economic development. And we continue to see great customer service by having that one-stop shop. It's more convenient for the customers, it's more convenient for the residents, and it also permits us to share staff. So if we have a building clerk out, the other clerks on both sides can assist. If the same thing with the other two groups in there, it uses the staff as effectively and as efficiently as we can. Okay, Miles. We gonna have it on both screens?
He's checking.
It's got me.
It's dark now. Oh, there it is.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, it's off now.
Now we're good. Yep, now it went out.
Nope, it went off. Now he's back to the mayor again. Wait, it's thinking. It's got the little circle on it.
Looks like it's buffering, Miles.
Control-Delete.
Oh, it says no signal. Connection guide, source. PC HDMI 2.
I'm sure this is.
Okay, if you want for right now, we'll go here.
Yeah, we'll just look up here.
Yeah, we'll look up here. It's kind of close for me though, but that's okay.
Okay. Okay, I apologize. So this is the ChickFilA ribbon cutting. I'm sorry, not ribbon cutting, groundbreaking. So we're back up on both sides, John, if that's bothering you. The new ChickFilA owner was there on the left. His name is Tony Morgano. And when we met with them, because they wanted to widen the exit, instead of having just a right turn lane out, which could have held up their drive-through traffic, they wanted to create a straight-through lane so people could use the other driveways there on Target, or for that matter, turn left and go back out to Northland instead of just having one way out. And we met on that, and I found originally it was going to be March of 2022 they planned to open. And when we had that meeting about adjusting the driveway a little bit, Tony mentioned that they were now planning to open the first week of December of 2021 instead of March. And I asked him what caused that change. That's about a 90-day change. And he said that when he talked to the corporate office of ChickFilA, they said nobody does things the way the city of Medina does. The fact of going through our boards and commissions, the fact of having to make minor adjustments like this to the plans, they were expecting to have 90 days in boards and commissions and ended up with one night and getting everything approved. So that tells me what we're doing is working effectively. With our building department, we had 33 new homes in 2020. That's exceeding the number of new homes that we've built in the city of Medina for the past 4 years. With Dan's new certifications, he's now able to review and approve most commercial plans in-house, and we appreciate his efforts in accomplishing that. This also saves plan review costs and further expedites the turnaround time for construction approvals. And I can tell you that there's not a week that goes by that a contractor doesn't stop me waiving his permit and telling me that he got this building permit issued in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, including paying for it over here at the finance department. And he said they will tell me routinely that other cities this is taking anywhere from 30 days to 45 days to 60 days. So it tells me what we're doing is working very well. On the Economic Development Department, now mind you, this is in 2020 during the COVID, we had $33 million invested in businesses. We also, because of the COVID, worked with Medina County to review and award 88 city businesses with CARES Act grants. The other thing we did when you all may remember during the COVID, they shut the businesses immediately in March. They just shut them down with no forewarning or anything. And what we did then, within a day or two, Councilwoman Hazeltine, Councilman Lamb, and I met downstairs with the Chamber, Main Street, and a number of the local businesses. And the request to the city was, could we make with the city symbol a place at our curb to have people come in for carry-out or curbside service. And within a couple days, the sign was approved in that meeting. A couple days, those signs were posted. We gave them cones with slits in the top to put the signs and got them back in business in very short order as a result of that. I wanted to mention Carlisle Brake and Friction. They closed the Oklahoma plant, as the council would likely recall, in 2017. And in 2020, they brought the corporate offices from Solon to Medina. That corporate office alone amounted to 50 people and over $5 million in payroll. And when they came for the job creation grant, I asked the president, Ted Messmer, if there was a problem in Solon, because I didn't want to repeat it or see us run into the same problem with them. He said, no, there's no problem at all in Solon. We like how Medina does business, and that's why we're bringing everything we can to Medina. More businesses and industry and people working at those businesses and industry help keep our tax rate one of the lowest in the state, and each of our residents benefit from that. With regard to Planning and Zoning Department, the Ohio Regional Development Department applied for a CHIP grant for the city of Medina and Brunswick, and the total amount awarded was $700, and it's a 2-year program. Now, each city received an extra $50,000. So normally we would each get $300,000, but we each got $350 because of our city doing the administration for both cities, and thereby freeing up administrative costs that otherwise would have been paid. So it's a great collaborative effort with the city of Brunswick and helping us help more and more residents with the monies available. With our engineering department, in 2020, our projects totaled over $6.5 million, and that was both grant and city dollars. And the design and planning work for the years 2021 and 2022 projects, we expect to total over $10 million. In 2020, we completed the parking deck just outside of City Hall with a $1 million capital grant and a $2.8 million city share to be reimbursed by property taxes for improvements in the area surrounding and supported by the deck through tax increment financing. And we're seeing some of those taxes come in already. With our fire department, we have 6 fire stations that serve Medina City, Montville Township, and Medina Township and Montville Township. And if you add those 3 jurisdictions together, it's over 47,000, over 47,000 residents. And we had been staffing Monday through Friday, day shift and afternoon shift. And just recently here, earlier in September of this year, we added daytime staffing on Saturdays and Sundays within the existing budget. Now you may wonder, the public may wonder why we picked Saturday and Sunday day shift, and it was an analysis of the data of when the calls were coming in that we were not staffed for to decide where our money would be best placed to add another shift. And we found that to be Saturday and Sunday daytime within the existing budgets. Obviously, that will greatly assist in our response times. With our law department, Our law department handles misdemeanor cases in the Medina Municipal Court for the northern two-thirds of Medina County. They are also the legal advisor and contract review for all city departments and Medina City Council. So when you think about the northern two-thirds of Medina County, that is all the OSP, Ohio State Patrol cases, all the townships, Sheriff's Department, Ohio Division of Wildlife and Liquor Control, and Medina County Parks cases. Now, I will share that Brunswick City has their own prosecutor and own law department, and they have their own mayor's court. So some of their cases will start in the mayor's court. If somebody wants to come out to the court, have a jury trial, or have it heard by a judge instead of the mayor, they have a right to bring that case out to the municipal court, but our law department does not handle that. The law department from Brunswick City handles those cases for us. With the Medina Community Recreation Center, again, we were pretty devastated with the COVID in 2020. We were shut down on March 17th through June 1st, and that required us to have to lay off all of our part-time staff members. With the full-time staff members, then we reconfigured all of our equipment, partially using the field house to spread the equipment out with proper spacing and proper distancing for when we could open back up. The recovery has been slow and the public's been cautious in returning. We also had our rec center director resign in November of 2020, and with the blessing of council, we decided not to fill that position and have that expense along with the limited revenue we had coming in, and we asked Jansen to fill in the interim, and Jansen has done a great job, and I want to thank him for his efforts in that regard. And sometimes what I find is it's good to have a different set of eyes, take a look at things. And one of the things that was generated with this was Jansen and Christie at the rec center finding ways to have the rec center programs put into our parks to have people get to see our parks and the amenities there, and then when the weather changes, take some of the parks programs and bring them into the rec center. Again, exposing the rec center to more patrons and hopefully more people buying memberships. With Medina TV, this has been a great partnership with Medina City Schools. We're celebrating 25 years. Medina TV took an active role during the COVID with public notices, information sharing, remote meetings, people able to watch our meetings on Facebook or live. They partnered then with the Medina County Commissioners because they were seeing what we were doing and didn't have the technological capability of doing it. So Jared and Miles went over and worked with them so that they could get the proper equipment, and they were so pleased with the advice we gave them and the results of that. They then entered into a contractual arrangement with the city to begin taping and broadcasting their meetings as well. And they pay for our staff time anytime that they're over there handling that. Another important thing that Medina TV did for our schools and our seniors weren't going to be able to have a graduation under the current conditions last year with the COVID. And Medina TV stepped in to create a virtual seniors awards ceremony and commencement where they could videotape, bring in a certain amount of graduating seniors at a time, have them proceed across the stage just as if everybody was there together, get their diplomas, all their certificates, and then go outside and take pictures with the seniors and their families. And they did that, as you can imagine, when you're doing a small group at a time for many, many days. But it was important to us and important to the schools that those seniors not lose out on that experience. And I'm proud of how Medina TV handled that. With our Parks Department, we have a vast park system for a city our size, 182 acres, 11 pavilions, 11 soccer fields, 14 baseball fields, 1 football field, 2 disc golf courses, and 16 miles of mountain bike trails and 5 miles of paved multi-purpose and nature trails. As council knows, we extended the East Reagan Parkway Trail from Larkins Way to North Court Street through a state grant, and we're also adding lighting on that same trail from North Court Street to Ashwood Lane from another state grant. Jansen has done a great job in working with the County Parks Director, Nate Epping, of looking at the master plan for the county parks and the master plan for the city parks to create interconnectivity. So when you think about that last trail I just mentioned, so now you can literally go from North Court Street, down Reagan Parkway, through Lake Medina. The park system is working with SUMA to create the trail to go across at the SUMA light, connect with East Smith Road to get on the Roscoe Ewing Trail to come out to the bike trails on South Court Street and get to the Chippewa Lake Trail. All interconnected. And it's one of the larger ones in this region, if not in the state. And that comes from collaboration, discussions, and working together with the county park system and the city park system. We're proud of those accomplishments. With our forestry department, we have over 13,500 street trees the city's responsible for. I know sometimes the council gets requests of why can't we trim the trees every year? Well, we have to do them in cycles because of that. It's just a lot to maintain and upkeep. But the city has been designated a Tree City USA for the last 38 years, and we're pretty proud of that. The cemetery department, we have 35 acres between our two cemeteries. That includes 6,500 monuments and over 10,000 interments. The cemetery division works collaboratively with the Friends of the Cemetery. The Friends of the Cemetery, I'm proud to share, has donated over $1.5 million for projects at the Spring Grove Cemetery, and we're thankful and appreciative for all of their support. And also, let me share this. The Spring Grove Cemetery was established in 1883. It was registered on the National Register of Historic Places and was recently named the first and only arboretum in Medina County. And I know they're very proud of that, and we are as well, because our cemetery is like another park for us. Our police department, obviously the COVID caused quite a difference in how we police. With community policing, we're engaged with people, we're close to people, we're not social distanced at all. So we had to start learning how to police from a distance, both for the officers' protection and for the safety of our citizens. That was in March of 2020. On April 7th, to be precise, we had a tornado do extensive damage in our city. Extensive enough that we had to work hand in hand with Ohio Edison to get the lines cleared from the trees so our staff could then take the trees down. We had trees blocking roads. We had trees that went through houses. Our police and fire had to save somebody from one of those situations. And then the third thing that happened in 2020 was on May 25th of 2020, George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, Minnesota by their police. And as a result of that, we ended up with 5 protests on our public square. We had no arrests in any of those, no arrests or property damage created. Pastor Ruffin organized the Unity celebration on the square, and then a march. And then since then, he has had a number of community discussions on Medina TV about race relations, about social justice, about criminal justice. And he's had myself, Chief Kinney, the Medina County Prosecutor, Forrest Thompson, and our Law Director, Greg Huber, on those tapes. And I'm proud to share with you that Governor DeWine's Office of Performance Consulting Services is looking at our policies, our procedures, our training, and our handling as a best practice for the state of Ohio. as they're looking at changing policing in the state of Ohio, they're looking at this as one of the models. And then something else that's very interesting to me is many of you council members will remember probably, I'm guessing 4 or 5 years, but at my age, the years, are longer. So we brought in a group out of Columbus called Performance Consulting Services, and they did racial diversity training for all the city school staff and all of the city staff. And they met with community groups. We had a number of community discussions, and they were pretty pleased with what we were doing, but we all went through the training, and I think it was very beneficial. Well, they got a hold of these tapes that we did with Pastor Ruffin, and now they're using what we're doing in their diversity training down in southern Ohio. We have people from Akron calling us about how we're doing things. Pastor Ruffin had somebody from Las Vegas who does diversity training contact us to get copies of these tapes. So we're making an impact not only in Medina, but across the region. Our service department, the sanitation, I mentioned the tornado had extensive damage in April of 2020. They actually gathered 600 cubic feet of storm debris and took that to Smith Brothers for composting, so we didn't have to pay the tonnage fee to take it elsewhere. The streets is responsible for pavement markings, street sweeping, street repairs, traffic signal and sign maintenance, storm sewer maintenance, leaf collection, and snow and ice removal. And what we do here is a little bit different than most cities. We use all CDL certified drivers when we have a snow or ice incident, and we run 24/7 until the issue is resolved and our streets are clear. That might be 24 hours, that might be 72 hours, whatever it takes. The new center block crosswalks on Public Square were replaced with a state grant, or were installed with a state grant, and we also replaced 14 streetlights in the historic district with grant dollars. Our vehicle maintenance department maintains all the vehicles in the city. We have 80 licensed vehicles they're responsible for, and we strongly believe that with proper preventative maintenance, the vehicle longevity is enhanced. One of our mechanics is specially certified to work on emergency vehicles at a much lower hourly rate than if we took that vehicle to somewhere that works on trucks. So as a result of that, we maintain all of the city and township fire vehicles and apparatus. With our water department, I love this slide. Isn't that neat? With our water department, they install water meters, they flush the hydrants, because you wouldn't think that's hard, right? We want to exercise and flush those hydrants yearly. And you think, well, you just put the wrench on there and you just open it up. And if you open it up too fast or you close it too fast, guess what? It rocks that whole system and causes problems. So that's why we found by having the water folks do it, they're much more familiar with those sorts of things, and they take care of it for us. They flush hydrants, utility locates, water main break repairs, and water quality testing as needed. In 2020, we had 2 new records set. The first was since 2012, we saw an increase in the water volume used, so that's more revenue coming in. And better yet, we had the fewest water main breaks since 2006. So those are both very good for us. It might be a little hard to see at that distance, but this graph shows just the general fund revenues and expenses in millions. And you can see in 2017 and 20 through 20, they showed a surplus of each year. And what that means in essence is what we budget versus what we spend. It's generally less, because if somebody leaves, it takes us a month to replace them. Then that extra money just that money that was budgeted isn't spent. So you'll see 2021 shows a deficit, but again, because not all of the appropriated funds will be spent, Each year, we do have a surplus due to not spending in certain lines. And I'll also mention that Keith Durham is not here right now, but he's also very conservative with his estimates, revenue estimates, and of course, the expenditures are the true expenditures if we spend all that money. So this is a slide I think you'll find helpful. So as you know, for years, we've had the police, fire, and EMS all respond together. They all go on each other's calls. They all support one another. So when the fire truck arrives, this is Liberty Plaza Apartments, and as you're looking at the screen, to the right is the maintenance area and office for the property manager, and the left is a community room, the longer section to the left. So when the fire trucks arrive at Liberty Plaza, the LST members and the police officers had already identified the two nearest hydrants. So when the fire truck stopped, they grabbed the hose and hooked it to hydrants while the fire personnel were getting their fire equipment on, helmets, breathing apparatus, and coats and pants. So the first picture shows you them fighting the fire. The second is when the police use their thermal imager to see where the actual heat was. So obviously you can see on the right is the flames. So that's where the firefighters are focusing. But when they realize that the heat is going right across that peak, they know the rest of that building is going to go if they don't get attention and water on that shortly. So what they did then is adjusted, as a result of seeing that infrared, adjusted that both from the top and from inside, took down a couple of the ceiling panels to blow the water up through and stop those hot spots. That's just an example of the collaborative effort, and as a result of that building was saved. Police, fire, and EMS working together. The Courthouse Project is underway for the Common Pleas Court, and the city is in the process of reviewing and researching the use of the 1969 Common Pleas Court for Medina Municipal Court purposes. We have been studying space and safety issues for the Medina Municipal Court for 2 decades. If possible and financially feasible, to repurpose the 1969 building for the Medina Municipal Court purposes, the city would still be able to share the sally port for prisoners, the secured entry area, secured holding area, and the court security. And again, as I look at things like this, it's another collaborative effort between political entities to save taxpayer dollars whenever possible. And to me, it doesn't matter if these are taxpayer dollars paid to the county, taxpayer dollars paid to the city. It's still all of our residents and businesses paying these dollars, and the more effectively and efficiently we can use them, the better we are. So some examples of above and beyond that I wanted to mention. We had 2 different restaurants that ran into problems, and they're ready to open, but they can't get their liquor permit. And what we found out was, in fact, if you call today, it's the same thing. The state offices and federal officers are still working from home. We're all here, but they're working from home. And in this case, nobody's looking at the permits. And alcohol for a restaurant is very critical to their success, because they make additional revenue off of that. So we got a hold of our state legislators, who got us in touch with the Department of Commerce, and their first answer to me was, well, we're 6-7 months behind in processing permits. And I told them, I don't know how it works in Columbus, but that's not going to work here. These people are opening their doors. They need this liquor permit. You tell me what we need to do. Do we need to take pictures and send them to you? Do you want to come up and walk through the place? Well, we're not allowed to come out and walk through anywhere. So literally, they took pictures. The legislators helped us get both of those pushed through in a few weeks rather than the 6 months. And it was important to our businesses to do that. The next The next one has to do with our senior snowplow program. We had an elderly resident who, we do her driveway for her, but she had about 30 inches or so of snow against her back door. And she's in her 80s. She can't go out there and clear it. She's got a dog in the house, but can't let the dog out because of the snow. So she called our office, didn't know what to do. Is there anything that you can help me with? And we did. Nina went over one time and shoveled the snow away from her back door to get the dog outside. And another time, Nina was tied up, and Jansen took care of that for her. And the third one, sorry, I wandered. In the third one, we had a resident that had 30 inches of sewage in a basement in Ward 2 near Claggett Middle School. And she didn't qualify, she had limited resources, but she didn't qualify for any of our programs, any of our grants, because she had this house and her mother's house in Cuyahoga County, because the mother was in a nursing home, and with her limited resources, she's trying to keep both of these going and had no idea what she could do to try to resolve this matter. So we had one of our staff members work with her. First, Nino talked to a number of contractors who were willing at cost, their cost, to remove the sewage. And then we had another staff member here at City Hall work with her and her insurance company to where all she would have to do was pay the deductible and get this problem resolved for her, and for that matter, for the neighbors around her. So in closing, so I don't go too long, I just want to share this with you. We may have lost friends, neighbors, or families during this pandemic, but we remain hopeful. Medina is a vibrant city that has bounced back several times in our history and continues to show resilience. It's my honor and privilege to serve as your mayor, whatever we have to face, because I know we can get through anything together, and together we make Medina proud. And that photo there is the prince and princess of Medina there. Madison started kindergarten here this fall, and Aiden's going to go in 4 years when I get done with this last term. God bless you, and thank you for all you do. If there are questions, I'll answer them, but I don't imagine there are. I think you know this probably as well as I do.
We've been through it. Yeah. No, but appreciate it, and it's always a joy to, find out exactly what the city's been doing and what we've been doing collectively, and we appreciate you putting it together.
Yeah, I appreciate all you.
Thank you,
Thank
Matt.
you.
All right, we have 10 minutes before council starts.